Brother Bobby. I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of a dear colleague of mine, my co-missionary in South America, Brother Rod Bustos. And it's another deja vu, because during that time, he was a member of the council when we had this Napeo conference. And I was just so surprised. He just came back to me. I was playing drums. Playing drums, and it was a dancing portion, and all of a sudden someone taps me on the back. Kaka! Kaka! Bahala na kayo! Bakit? Alis na kami! That was body nila. Ano? Why? Anyway, so life goes on, and what comes around, what goes around comes around. Di ba, no? And all for the better, greater glory of God. So, like I was saying earlier, all of the pastoral, from the cycle, the structure, the heart of a servant, the posture, the attitude is for us to come together, not only as messengers of the good news, but architects of the environment that will allow your members to experience, being a servant and a light to the nations. Okay. Now, we're supposed to touch on the various committees. We will not do it in detail, so that you will get a better grasp the next time the second part is presented to you. But this is very important, because the first pastoral that we took up had to do with the members, and we are all members, right? What if you are a committee head? So I would like to just share with you some nuggets. And the title of this is Building, Inspiring, and Empowering Your Team. Before I presented the committees to you, I think this is important, because you will have to staff them with team leaders first, and then fill in the blanks. So each of your members, we took this up earlier, has felt God's presence and love in their lives. Be confident in that, like us, it is God's love that moves them to work and serve. It is not out of guilt or voluntold, or you were coerced, or you were pushed. More often to the point of giving up their own comforts, which is what's going to happen. Be prepared for that. Sleepless nights, late night going home, early rising, and so forth. It is God's love that moves them to work and serve more often, to the point of giving up their own comforts, wants, and needs. It is at this point that we should start. Understand that we are all servants. We are doing this for the love of our Lord. No one from your team or membership is indebted in any way to you or to anyone from your call group. I mean, you did the preliminaries that RAM labored to produce the results were we dovetail into where we're at right now. Were you obligated to do that out of obligation? I mean, someone could have told you, yes, do this, but not in the same intensity that he prepared, and I have it all in my iPad. Called to be servants. You are in a position where you have the authority to guide them in their lives, family lives, love life, academics, etc., relationships. Their service to mobilize them to an event or to a project which you believe necessary in the course of your work. You will eventually set up teams to efficiently conduct the work at hand. So I believe you noticed by now that a lot of you are leaders, if not all of you, at least most of you, and you have members under you. So this applies. You are in a position where you have the authority to guide them in their lives, family lives, love life, academics, help them to work with you. Their service, mobilize them. In the course of your work, you will eventually set up teams. Be confident in where God has placed you. Take your place, lead. In other words, fulfill the anointing. You know, this might bring back memories to you. Pero hindi ba importante yung fulfill your mandate. Fulfill your mandate. Okay? Be confident in what God has placed. If you're in the registration committee, lovingly, willingly, you know, open your heart to that calling and perform. Address it. It is important that you as a leader pray, because think of the premise that your core group will do only half of what you do. So, as their leader, you should be the most prayerful in the group. If you pray only twice a week, be afraid, because most likely your core group will be praying once a week. If you pray 1 hour a day, ganun si Brother Ricky, you know, he only prays 15 minutes a day, di 5-10 minutes kami. You're the leader. Do not be afraid. If you pray only twice a week, be afraid, because most likely your core group will only be praying once a week. If you bring in just half of your effort, you know, you have a very gifted skill set, and you give mediocrely, you know, your members will notice that and see that. They will follow you. In leadership dynamics, there's always the assembly line syndrome. You know, they just look for, to make things easier for them, they just look for the leader. Wherever he goes, then they will follow. Whatever he does, they will also imitate. Work. As their leader, you should be the most diligent in accomplishing tasks, the friendliest in your area, the most accommodating when it comes to requests, etc. And your members are inspired by your examples to be ready to do things you wouldn't otherwise want to do. Okay. It is a maxim that I myself try to practice, you know, in my dynamic with my co-servants. You know, I will never ask someone to do something that I myself am not willing to do. I will do it. If I have to start by, you know, when we rehearse at the CFC Center, I clean the toilet. They call me, boss, boss. Oh yeah, boss. But when, boss, gutom na kami, I go out. I buy food for them, you know. It's really true. If you want to be the greatest, you have to be the servant of all. And you have to be willing to do things that you do not want them, you yourself do not want to do. Okay? Love. Oh, very important. In the end, only three things will remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of this is love. Faith, hope, and love. We are in the business of loving. We do not run as a corporation. If one fails in the committee, forgive. Help him out. Help him to succeed. You know, bring the person into the path of rising up again. We do not run as a corporation. We do not measure a person's service or his heart for the service by the tasks at hand. Okay? But we are not strict to enforce rules we know are rigid. We give room for love and for it to grow. I believe you've heard this in one of the MARs, I think, or in the leadership seminars. In community, there is only one instance wherein competition is allowed. Okay? Only one circumstance where competition is allowed is to outdo each other in love. Have that kingdom principle embedded in your heart. Also, do you know that there is only one circumstance where you can be stingy in community. Ano ba yung stingy? Madamot. Stingy. Kuripot. You know? You have to be stingy in criticism, but lavish in praise. Okay. When you criticize privately. Compliment publicly. Be an encourager all the time and be one who is an instrument of upliftment. That is a gift of the Holy Spirit, di ba? Exhortation, you know. You have to love. You be generous with your encouragement and your compliments. Forming your A team. Actually, I changed that into A team because the original title was Forming Your Killer Team. In the secular world, your killer team. Work on the premise that we do not know everything. That's okay. We do not know everything. That's why we need each part of the mystical body of Christ. You know, I can only be an arm, maybe a nose, but not everything. Not a leg or a foot. Work on the premise that we do not know everything. We do not choose based on specific skills. We choose based on a person's heart. It is better to have one inspired person than 10 diligent people who are uninspired. That's very, very true. I would rather, for example, have a new music ministry who are Christ-centered and they play tight and clean rather than getting the best of the best. Now I have a chaotic battle of the egos, you know, amidst the music ministry, where their main purpose really is to decrease themselves and lead the people of God unto worship, right? And rather than perform. It's really very, very important. I remember I had this trainee, and we were in an actual conference, and she was a girl. And all of a sudden, one of the side screens just started, you know, buzzing. The image became distorted. And it was uneven. This was clear, center stage was clear, and that one was distorted. And so I was looking for the electrician, the house engineer, thinking that it might be a corrupted, contaminated line, okay, that's causing all the static. So we tried that, and then I was going close to the tech station, and then I was looking at the sister. What happened? What happened? And she was, she was crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was mouthing that. I could see it from afar. And I went there, and I said, switch to camera. If the PowerPoint is buzzing, just switch to camera. Show the speaker. Because during the time, the speakers, they had their notes anyway. You know? I'm not using my PowerPoint right now. It's just a stationary space filler. So I said, shift to camera. But the important lesson in that is, you know, this thing that we do, we're so used to it. We know what we're doing. But when pressure happens, when glitches happen, it's how you address it. You know, just like Mama Mary, calm and gentle disposition. Your composure is very, very important. Because if she has already lost it, and you are the leader, and you lose it too, the whole team goes down. The whole team goes down. And what happens is yeah, you point the fingers at each other. Whose fault is it? You know, it becomes corporate, secular in approach. This one, very important. Form a complementing group, right? Form a complementing group. People who have mixed interests and specialties, but who can help and complement each other in a project. Gosh, I'm so excited. You mix a good technical person, someone who's good in visuals, someone who's good in audio, someone who's good in choosing, songs as a background to layer into a visual. Wonderful. You get a gifted choreographer to do the Sacramento CFC NorCal welcome presentation. Like, where's your wife? Yeah, they were already. I was listening to them. They were brainstorming and sharing ideas. And another important I need to throw in. Don't be afraid to get people who are better than you. Form a complementing group. People have mixed interests and specializations, but who can help it complement each other in the project. A person good with marketing, an organizer, a diligent secretariat, an amiable person to follow up. Can you imagine? That's a lean, mean fighting machine. That's special forces, SEAL team. Be guarded in choosing based on your own preferences. Okay, now, earlier we talked about, I would rather, remember Gideon's 300, right? They started from how many? 15,000 to rout 125,000 Philistines. What did he do? He fleeced the Lord. He asked for signs. What am I? I'm just a treasure. Gideon, yeah. Gideon's 300. And what did God tell him? So, they were there preparing for battle, 15,000. And first it was 15, and then there was 10, and then 5, and then finally 300. 300. And that was whom the Lord called to be his army. They routed 125,000 Philistines, and they were running, and I believe they captured and beheaded the 3 princes, and with them, along the way, they started calling upon the other members, shall I say, the other members of Vacaville, San Jose, along the way, chasing the enemy out of Northern California. They started with 300, 125,000. It's the same. It's the same analogy, the same pattern. So, choose spiritually wisely. Okay, it's not the best person. It's not the best person as far as the Lord is concerned. For a particular job. Be sure. Be guarded in choosing based on your own preferences. Form a wide perspective in addressing all the members of your group. Example, get a person good at basketball, for example, if it's a youth conference or a singles conference, to address all the sports needs and interests of your group. Okay? Now, you do not need to know everything. Just like myself, just like all of us, you will learn in the process. We have basic guidelines, but it has been a long time since we gathered together and worked together. And by the way, this is a new thing. The process, the mechanics, and the dynamics might be the same, but the Spirit is a forward-moving God. He transforms us from glory to glory. If you think that this year's conference is good, this is going to be better. Do you believe that? Because He is not one who will start from best, now better, and then good. He's not going to settle for that. He has to be, He deserves excellence. So He deserves our best. And be confident in your team. So this is empowering your team. Be confident in your team. Do not do everything. Empower them by trusting them to do things and show God's love through their work. Let others shine. Bring the light of Christ into the world through their work. Do not do everything. Empower them by trusting them to do things and show God's love through their work. You can start with trivial things to prepare them and help them along the way. You can delegate a huge task after they have grown conviction in what they do. If you want to use a person, for example, to be your production crew in very sensitive components in production, like visual operator, camera switcher, camera 1, camera 2, videographer, show them the ropes first. Like I said, do not tell them to do something that you yourselves are not willing to do. Show them how. Breakout room. Have someone, assign someone who will take care of the projector, screen, and audio system. Just to begin with, And then they will know the principle of input-output. It's Greek to a lot of people who are not techies. But it's really very simple. It's input, output, right? Your device is your laptop. There's an output that goes into the projector. The out is this one, right? And then there's an output from the laptop headphone that you can. That's why you can hear me in the video right now. Small things like that. Shepherd them, through the process. If you're an accountant, good in registration, good in numbers and finance, and lead them and teach them the ropes. Teach them the ropes. So, like Brother Don here, you're going to have your hands full. And I'm not scaring you. The reward for service is greater service. Oh, okay, here again. Honor in public, correct in private. Okay? Be stingy with criticism, be lavish in praises. Now, keep your team inspired. How do you do this? Your core group meeting should be inspiring, not a bull session. It's not a session to point fingers at someone who has made a mistake or for someone who had failed in his assignment. It should be stimulating, it should be edifying, uplifting, and inspiring. Inspiring. For example, right now, we're having a meeting. Are you inspired?
Yes.
Are you inspired? Right. I can't hear you.
Yes.
Right. No escuche, right? No escuche. Can't hear you. Because I'm not here. What do we do if I'm here to scare you? Oh my gosh, there's about 1,500 participants about to descend in this Northern California area of Sacramento. Yeah, we've faced so many storms already. And like I said, the Lord transforms us from glory to glory. Okay. Make your team feel your genuine interest in them. Constantly ask how they are. Be more relational than functional. That has been a problem of mine. Because when I'm in Tensorama, I have a bazillion things going on in my mind that I have to address. When I call my members, I don't even say, hello, how are you, good day, done. No, what are the figures? Go straight to the point. It's so impersonal. Okay, expect a report tomorrow. Then a report the following day. How are you, Bruno? There's nothing like that. So, genuine interest. Love. Very important. Besides, if you believe, and you should, that if you do everything in prayer, about 80-90% of your concerns taken care of God. You have the remaining 10% to handle. So why rush? Anyway, have you ever read anything in the Bible that describes Jesus Christ rushing? Now I'm doubting my own self kasi nag-iisip ko si Tito Pitts, galing sa seminaryo yan. Teka muna, meron nga yata. No, I don't think so.
Hold on. Preparing, yes.
Huh?
Preparing, yes. The lamps.
Yeah.
To be filled with oil.
Yeah, that's important. But he didn't say, Rush, come on. You know, it's like, and I read something, it says SOS. Slower, older, smarter. SOS. Anyway, so, and it works for me. Sometimes I get stressed out easily, and there's really no reason. You know what's the acronym for fear? Unrealistic. Fearing, E for something that is unreal. You know, it was a priest who told me that, you know, in the Eastern Conference in Chicago, events manager.
False evidence appearing real.
Pardon me?
False evidence appearing real.
False evidence, real. Yeah. False evidence of appearing real. That is fear. It's true, right? We fear so many things. Sometimes it's not even real. It's just concocted. You know, we conjure it. Fear. False evidence appearing real. Wow. I'll remember that. So no, FEAR. Okay. Your core group meeting should be inspiring. I said that already. Work, pray, and serve hard. Your team will be, oh, that sounds really, really cool. Right? Work, pray, and serve hard. And also party hard. Seriously, when I was serving Singles for Christ, okay, my mentor was Terry Savage and Tony Meloto. You know who Tito Tony is, right? You know, there's a couple of P's. One was party hard, play hard, party harder, and pray hardest. The 3 P's: play hard, party harder, and pray hardest. It's a simple abbreviation of enjoy what you're doing. The joy of the Lord. You know, it's very important. The joy of the Lord should be in us. So we pray and serve hard. Your team will be inspired by what they see in you. So constantly pray for guidance that you may do what the Lord calls you to do. Obey what He is asking you to do and go out of your way to serve your members. Jesus said, whoever wants to go first should come last. And so, you know, you see this in front of us. I will make you a light to the nations that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. Be a servant and a light. Be a light to the nations. And so I was pouring my heart out to my father confessor. And he said, you know, Ricky, when you look at the mirror, what do you see? And he said, if you see, you know, disheveled, grumpy looking, laughter missing, smileless face, that is not the face of Jesus anymore. And that is the face that others see. You know? Are you bringing Jesus? And he's Filipino. He said, dapat para tayong kotse. Dapat ipapadetail mo yan. Pag madumi na, magpaano ka na, wax, polish, clay, put armor all on the wheels, shampoo in the carpet and the upholstery. You need that. All of us need that. Yeah, Yuki, no offense, no? Magpagupit ka, pumunta ka na sa salon, magpamasahe ka, relax, Relax. Having to worry is not gonna help you any. Kasi ilang gabi na ako hindi nakakatulog and bibigyan ako ng talk in Spanish. It's nerve-wracking. And so I went to confession and I shared, I was feeling really negative and down. He told me that, it's not, ako pa naman yung, when something happens, when S hits the fan, it's very obvious. Talagang makikita mo, hindi ko pa nakaset up yung PA. Ano pa? And that's not helping the team any. It's bringing them down. It happened to me, one of the ANCOP, I forgot, galas or something. And really, the artists were there. Who was Brother Rod? Who was Awel Pas? Was he GMA or ABS-CBN Kapuso? ABS-CBN. We had the artists. We had the people from ABS-CBN. We were the music ministry, and I was in charge of the production. Our PA system wasn't working, and my gosh, you could see it in my face. And I just stopped and let's come together. Let's pray in tongues and let's recite the Divine Mercy. And after that, so conclusion. What is the difference between conclusion and opinion? Don't yung punchline ko.
Conclusion, the opinion.
No. Conclude it right. Conclusion, you cannot enter. Kung opinion, you can go inside. Conclusion, you cannot enter. Kung opinion, you go inside. Anyway, to scratch that off out of the video again. So anyway, okay. Conclusion. Just as the Father has loved you, as He has served you in your life, serve. As He has empowered you, empower. As He has inspired you, inspire. That is how we are called to share God's goodness in our lives. Allow yourselves to be conquered. Leave room for God always. Leave room for God always. And this happened on the night he was to go to the Garden of Gethsemane, the agony in the garden. And when he was praying to his Father, I pray that you and the Father you and I will be one as they, will be one with the Father and all that. And if that was my attitude, that would be very commendable on the night before the conference. So, you just praying for the benefit of the other. Kaya pag malapit na yung conference, dinadasal natin, oh my God, ano mangyayari? Di ba dumarating yung ganyan? Praise God. Anyway, so we need to come together and pray. Because our concern now is we don't have Thursday to set up. For now, it's Friday. So we have to cure. We call that a cure. We have to find a cure. Whether it's the event property-wise or schedule-wise for the production side. So that is, I would like to conclude. Thank you for this second portion, building, inspiring, empowering your team. I made a mistake. I thought it was 6:30 and I said, Sister, okay, we will eat at 6:30. I didn't know that it was only 5:30, right? Did you eat at 6:30? That's why I was asking you if your time zone is the same as Southern California.
It's okay.
That's okay. Okay. So here are the committees. Okay. So. Magic yan eh. Good. Oh, there.
Thank you.
So, the administrative coordinator, that is then it will be, his administrative head would be Brother Vic, right? Ito,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, he's my counterpart in the local.
Event head. Overall. Event head.
Oo nga.
Yeah. Administrative.
Sino?
Sino?
No, anyway, I will give you. Memory yata, pero wala. So, let's see. And then we go down there. It doesn't matter, you could call it what you will. It doesn't have to be cut and dry. What works for you, but this is our structure, remember? And again, you know, if there's any better way to approach this, then that's fine too. So that's national. This is Tito Alex, the overseers, pastoral office overseer. Governor denominator, be a servant in the light to the nations. And here, I will represent national, and this represents local. That's him, right? Okay, that's him. Because there are two portions. You see all this on logistics. I mean, admin. Without this, there's no conference. Without this, there'll be no members coming. So we coordinate together, and the dynamic is this will be my responsibility. We'll take care of the production and the programs, which is why we're not taking it today, because we're not going to teach how to run, a cable, connect heavy stuff and like that. But this, and then we work together. We are all connected. There are no divided lines. So, and this is mine. This is here. If you break it down. But then again, we'll have a separate meeting with that, so that we can now tap different. You know who they are. I know during the San Mateo conference, I had the best team. You see the Nico, the young Cocos. Oh, there was an architect. There was, we had an architect, music ministry. They're very good. Your people here, and we would go for the ocular, and we were together. So what I'm taking up is this guy here, because he will be okay. So city coordinator, and they will be. Okay. So tell me if this is cool with you. Rosa coordinates with the admin. Well, he's the admin in charge of the event for the direction and team, and reports regularly to him for developments and updates. So I will coordinate with another bit, right? But his responsibility for the team that will have the different committees for the event and assign their roles and responsibilities with respect to the needs of the event, and assist the local counterpart in forming their own teams. You may form committees, subcommittees, and you have so many chapters, clusters. Team meetings. Conducts regular team meetings to monitor the progress of event preparations, including that of the local counterparts. Frequency of meetings usually start at twice a month, then increases in frequency as the event draws near or as the need arises. So, ideally, when you're still far from the conference, you have monthly meetings, right? Just after you have filled in the committees, and then you come up with your task list, and then each month you make your follow through and keep the chain of communication, and I'll be coordinating with you. Meanwhile, I'll be taking care of the content, the program content, and how we're going to be able to produce that. Budget monitoring evaluates the budget requirements of each committee and monitors their cash disbursements. reviews the projected event budget, and make sure that the event will at least earn a 20% net income to be turned over to the CFC Central Fund. By the way, this is a material that came from the Philippines, okay? I just want to make that clear. CFC Central Fund for future use as a financial statement to the EIC after the event. Timetable monitoring requires all committees to submit a timetable which he then consolidates to come up with an event timetable, monitors the progress of each committee based on their submitted timetables. We have samples of that, but Ram is very good at coming up with an Excel graph of dates, you know. Well, he's here to help us too, right?
Right.
So execution of plans, make sure all preparations are done before the event and are executed according to plan. Oversees the event proper and handles any problem that may arise. Okay, and of course it doesn't deprive you from pointing or directing it to the person who has direct responsibility over a particular concern. Like what we just learned, we do not need to learn everything. We need to know everything. Conducts an evaluation meeting after the event, you know, this is post-conference. How it was handled, determined, there's a, let me tell you, yes, I got pulled out the last conference in Chicago. I got, it's a long story, but it was my command responsibility, so I was the one that, you know, was, shall we say, admonished. The brunt. Correct. Finance Committee. So this is, this is Brother Don. Okay? Well, you have similarities. And so sometimes I call you Don and Brother Rod. Okay, so Finance Committee collate budget proposals from the different committees, roles and responsibilities. But you know, in light of this being a very sensitive issue, we'd like this to be internal to those who are supposed to be what do you call this, on a need basis, right? Because you know, for example, you have your breakdown already, and your production design has about $1,000, $2,000 allocated, right? And then here comes a very eager, enthusiastic young production member from SFC, right? Tito, how much budget do you have? If you tell them 2,000, they're gonna get the whole 2,000, and even maybe ask for more. Why? Because that's what I'm gonna do too. Because in production, never scrimp on production costs. It's a rule, okay? But here we're not corporate. You know, we have to be prudent, right? So, if there's a need to decorate the Saturday night dinner banquet, right? So, Tito Don, what is the budget? How much do you need? Okay. Oh, Tito, about $1,000. Okay. I'll see if we have enough funds. I'll give you 800 first. Make it work. If it's not enough, come back to me. Right? It's wise. It's just being prudent. Because, you know, remember we were talking during the meeting, she was so surprised. So what do you think about pyrotechnics? Prepare conference budget, taking into consideration the following. So we know that number of expected submitted committee budgets. We have a template of that. I have a template of that. We'll probably have a finance meeting over Zoom and discuss it point to point. Consult with the head of event and special events head regarding the following break-even point means to cut down expenses. Right? See, we started with that already. Submit budget proposal for the approval of the following: Ministry International Coordinator, CFC Family Ministries Director. So this could have been a template for family ministries. Or you can refer to this as, okay, if you're having a conference here in the US, who will be your guest from the Philippines? Okay. who will be giving the talks. Yeah. So that's a budget proposal. Submit approved budget with detailed budget breakdown per committee to the CFC Home Office and Finance Center, to the CFC Northern California Western Conference. Whatever you call the entity that will be handling the finance for this particular project. Discuss per committee the following: schedule of expenses, procedure for requests of payment, budget, roles and responsibilities, monitor status of registration. Like I said, we're not going to take it in detail, but flame, it used to be, now it's a blaze. It's not flame. Now it turned into a huge fire called a blaze.
Brother Ricky, I remember now your question about Jesus hurrying up. That I came to bring fire in the world, and I wish it is already ablaze.
Oh, but was he rushing?
Yeah.
Jewish.
He wants the small flame to
The evangelization, right? The evangelization. Okay.
commercial.
Tito, do you know the kind of car they use in the Old Testament?
Honda. Ano ba yan?
And they all move
Accord.
with one accord. Okay. What was the favorite soft drink, soda during the Old Testament? Huh? Coke. Habador! Sige na. This one, I used this already, but, okay. Why did Jesus begin the very first high-impact diet? High-impact diet. 40 days in the desert, right? Remember? High-impact? 40 days in the desert. Why? Because he is the only begotten son. Okay. Sige. Maraming ganyan, pang Pilipino lang yan. When I was giving this joke in a fast track, so, in the middle of my talk, they were holding up their cell phones. Tito Ricky, pakiulit. Yung pala, they were streaming my jokes. Ito yung sinabi ni Brother Ricky. Anyway, monitor budget requests don't necessarily savings or expense beyond budget. Yan. Savings or expense beyond budget. So, discuss necessary adjustments with head of event and international coordinator, ensure liquidation of expenses, prepare for a final financial report. Let's touch on the other committees naman, no? Secretariat, okay? Yan ang trabaho niya. Administrative function, focuses on coordination meetings, evaluation, venue negotiation, and we've crossed this line. We're handling this already. Service team and guest handling, How many missionaries are we expecting? Focuses on the foreign and local registration procedures, people from the Philippines, are we expecting delegates from the Caribbean, Coordination meetings, evaluation, prepares logistical requirements, if any, takes the minutes and distributes copies for approval of the head of the event. And most probably, this person will be the one to set your appointment, your meetings. He will set, she will, kasi it's by experience, mas mahuhusay yung mga babae pagdating sa secretariat work. Service team, guest handling, gathers list of service team, another function. Guests, CFC council, ministry council, speakers, artists, subsidized members, full-time workers and staff, service team, so that you don't have to worry about it. Time will come. So how many full-time workers are coming? How many guests from the Philippines? How many days are they staying? What will they eat before the conference? Where will they stay? Yes, arranges the food and conference, passes kids for the above, coordinates with accommodations and transportation, submits a copy of the list of personnel for accidents insurance, service team, guest handling, identifies headquarters for the service team. Yeah, this is basically where are they going to stay. Venue for on-site coordination meetings, venue for food distribution service. Team, because you have a good number of SFC and YFC here, right? In
YFC.
YFC, right? Okay. But at least that they are the ones that you saw during the conference working and with when Vanessa went here, right? Vanessa and Niall for the youth conference. For the youth conference. Okay, so you know it's very it's very comprehensive. So okay, so this is just secretariat. Oh no, this is registration. You see? Okay, now secretary registration. Very important. Forms a team. It's a team working. I remember we had a satellite conference meeting. The team in Ohio was very small, and we had about more than about 900 in attendance for a Youth for Christ conference, and you're helping out the youth coordinator. And as you know, we didn't have too many members in Ohio, right? There was no CFC presence. The closest was CFC Cincinnati, which is 2.5 hours away. And the other one was Cleveland at the other end, 2.5 hours away. What I'm trying to say is, the registration committee was formed by 4 people, satellite in Southern California. So each one was assigned north, south, east, west. Apat sila. Yeah. I mean, sort of say remote, work at home. Work at home. Yeah. They were based in Southern California, receiving the registration. But the conference was in Cleveland, Ohio. It's Ohio State University, OSU. You're there, you got your work cut out for you, handles basic inquiries regarding the conference, and then, I pray for this committee. Okay, so the next is, you can see that it's very Filipino, because kasi yung Blaze Flame on-site registration, and daming functions and responsibilities. I think just one committee is half a day of what do you call this, training. Accommodations committee, where am I going to sleep? Right. Okay, so type of accommodation, on-site, classroom, tents, very Philippines. You know. But this will work for your ministry events. You know, type of off-site accommodation arranged outside the perimeter of the conference. You know, from ordinary pension houses to expensive hotels. Types of accommodations, off-site bookings. So like tonight, what category do I fall under? Expensive house, off-site. The negotiations and bookings are done by the committee, and all payments are made in the name of CFC. Types of accommodations, off-site. You will handle all this. Roles and responsibilities of accommodation, work setup, finalize systems. Ocular of venue. Again, this is info dissemination, prepare accommodation guidelines and booking forms. Info dissemination. Assistant Secretariat, meron pa. Assist Secretariat. I'm sorry.
Ano yung info dissemination? That's the advertisement?
Which one?
Info dissemination.
Assist Secretariat in making follow-ups and ensuring that the guidelines were received by the areas and booking forms are accomplished. Meaning, for example, the booking forms I would think is if they book at a certain hotel. So who among them are billeted in Marriott? Who will be at a certain pension house? Since their accommodations,
Okay.
and then they will relay this registration in the Secretariat because there are certain guidelines that they need to know. For example, they will send out an advisory. On Friday, everybody has to wear the conference shirt. On Saturday, you have to wear color blue. On Sunday, it's your own Sunday's best, something like that. And these people are in separate places. Of course, just make sure that they receive the same information. Although, yes.
I think one of the questions is info dissemination for accommodations, especially for guests.
Yeah, for guests.
The first part of the info dissemination is like say it's Philippine based, right?
Right.
If we say here in Sacramento, the first part is to disseminate which hotels we can use.
Right.
That's the first one.
Right.
The second group is the information to be disseminated to the guests who are coming in.
Right.
Where are they billeted? Where are they housed? Where are and everything like the guests from Manila. Maybe they will be in the mansion of Big and Judith Tedo.
Right.
So all of these are part of that.
Yeah. And thank you very much, Brother Bobby. I don't even think that we're going to have the accommodation committee head because this only entails housing. I don't know, some of them might prefer not to just contact the kamag-anak. Pwede ba ako matulog dyan sa conference, And I don't think we will be giving provisions, to book them in hotels or pensions or houses or whatever. They will do that themselves. So, ang choices lang talaga nila register at the hotel or, if you know them, you want to extend hospitality and warmth, then by all means, house them. That's
Where does the advertisement fall in? What is there
Yes, there will be. You mean the souvenir program?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we will come. We will come to that.
It's a commitment.
Another one.
May
May on-site info desk pa sila. In the Latin Americas, we're like this, right?
Yeah.
Accommodations. A lot of them will stay with the members, and then they have separate accommodations for each of us. Transportation committee, importante nito. Roles and responsibilities, delegation of work. I think one of the main here to adjust to our circumstances here, one of the responsibilities of transportation is to find the necessary routes and parking spaces and possible parking areas within the vicinity of the perimeter of the conference. That's one thing.
Suggest the cheapest.
Yeah.
Safe parking.
And sometimes, like in the Eastern Conference, they allowed the SFC to do like an Uber service to raise funds. Yeah, Uber service to raise funds. They pick up from the airport. So ito, logistics roles and responsibilities. Yeah, implements the venue, decor, and layout. Mind you, the definition of logistics is a group formed to address one particular need or concern. So when you say logistics, it doesn't necessarily connote logistics of production. It could mean anything that will require logistical support. So, coordinates with creative department, facilitate the production or construction of the decor, structures to be used, etc. Coordinates with the design service team, CFC or family ministries for setting up You know, if you want any form of paper mache or artwork, you know, a backdrop. Now we don't use it. We're basically digital, except for Mount Mary and the cross, right? And maybe a paper mache of like a grotto or something. CFC Event Security, Tito Piz was asking this of the convention center. Just general services, waste management, sanity. But in our case, it's the hotel. I mean, the convention center who take care of this. So wala tayong general. Janitorial. So, may oikos pa, ito mo. Medical team, and first aid. Roles and responsibilities. Set stretcher, wheelchair friendly, handicap friendly environment. Food network, food network. I believe these are for guests or maybe after conference party, the victory party, whatever.
Hospitality suite.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't it there is a responsibility when it comes to insurance? So if there's something get hurt or something that slip and fall or something, is there any committee that's in charge for that?
I'm going to be the one to provide the insurance to the convention center per their requirement. They have a particular requirement. But if anything happens, Gulf of Surprise is insured nationally. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, I think this one, if you're going to create a food committee, sub rosa or undercover, so to speak. and yung covert food committee.
Outdoor lips.
Ha?
Outdoor lips.
Isang kwarto.
Katulad nung nandun kami sa Canada,
Mm.
sa Victoria,
Uh-huh.
yung internal na sabi yung internal food committee, nung pauwi na kami, yung mga taga Victoria, bro, sis, halika kayo, may pagkain pa dito.
Right, yeah, that's very CFC.
Nandun lang sila sa sa baba ng ng convention center din.
Yeah, especially for the full-time workers, they're hungry. They're first to eat.
Mabaon sila.
They're really in a hurry. Sometimes they just bring the styrofoams and they eat on site. On site. Or sometimes you're just walking after a tiring night to 1-5. Marinig to 1-5. Kasa to 1-5. That's where the action is. So when you get to the second floor, when the door opens, you smell the adobo. Okay, so, saan yung tinatanong ni Sister kanina? Marketing. Wait, let me see.
We have a souvenir program committee.
Huh?
We have a souvenir program committee.
Oh, you have a souvenir program committee. That's good.
No, but does that include the advertisements? Like, save the date, how much is
Oh, that's a secretariat. That's an advisory.
emails na mga
Secretariat.
Secretariat. Yeah.
video.
Yeah, I see if I have it with me. I see.
Like a video, saving the date,
So I guess we'll, unless you have any questions, maybe we can open the floor for a little Q&A.
Where's the cut-off of the regions who are expected to attend?
Pardon me? Cut off?
The region cut-off, those who are, then for the rest of the
Okay, listen, that's a very good question. I think the determination will have to, the recommendation will have to come from the local, no? And then send it over to the national because they're the ones discussing with the region head. as far as Eastern and Western is concerned. So, let's say we have our teasers out or save the date by September or October, or at least to get them excited. There is exactly, because let's suppose that we're in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 11 months before the conference.
Kasi po, we are trying to consider the option to, if it's possible that we will have a payment scheme, payment plan. So if we will have that, then the teaser should be out by as soon as possible, maybe October.
Ako, I would say, Brother Rod, safe para marami tayong cushion, soft cut-off date. 6 months before, kailangan yun. What do you think?
Okay, that's the date. No? I'm talking about the like the admin people will get strategy. The strategy is to make it easy for the admin people, all the areas and states, they will have an area conference coordinator.
Yeah, may ACC.
Now the question is, what are the states that they should give information to?
Oh, I see.
Anong cut-off ng country?
Oh, akala ko cut-off date.
No cut-off territory.
Kasi yung panahon natin,
You send it to Texas. You send it
yeah. Because before, I remember, the composition, geographical composition of East-West Conference is down the line. Down the line.
Bali, North Central, South Central, ang
Oo.
sa ating.
Down the line. Yun ang nakatandaan ko. Oo.
So Texas and Illinois are here.
Oo. Kasi I think it's more operational na they integrated some of the areas belonging to a particular East or West Coast. Kasi yung matataba na area, nagbigay sila doon sa mapapayat na area. They filled it with members. Oo. Like for example, nasa region namin Southwest B ang what do you call this? Let's say, New Mexico. Di ba? Wala na sa amin ng New Mexico. Ganun. South Nevada used to be Southwest B. And then they produced my region before Southwest C. It's a fairly new region. Siguro nga, that's how I foresee it. But thank you, kasi more heads are better than one. Ika nga eh. Yes?
To alleviate the admin, I think let's say SOCAL, no? I think the area congress coordinator there should also have a staff to complement the make it easy, like they should know how many where each hotels are they staying.
Right. And my most strategic response to that is that nag-usap na si Brother Pitts saka si Jun Rivera. They are our area heads in matters relating to support. Now, this is a good time. You're going to have your planning, of course. First, the National is going to have their planning. Then they're going to have their planning with the regional heads. That's a good time for them to come together, integrate, and discuss strategies. And ako, ang feeling ko talaga, give them goals. How many? Like for example, how many clusters do you have in your sector? Yeah. Okay, so you have 6 clusters. Some may have more members than the other. But as a general rule, come up with a magic number, divide it into 6, and tell them we are expecting this number, this number, this number.
Or by percentage, like 7%.
Or let's say you give them like an achievable goal, because more or less you know how many they are.
We have a number already, 600.
Oh, see? I was reading the spine. It's the same.
SoCal will be 300.
That would be the goal. It's not the other way around. You don't ask your members, okay, how your leaders, how many will come from your group. No, you set a goal. And you tell them what their goals are. And if they can't meet it, the other one is able to get some more from them to fill up your lap. Any question more? But
Where the Eastern Conference is located.
in Maryland, yeah.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
we will just improve on the strategy that we did in 2015 regarding coordination with areas.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi what we did before was really as in directly connecting, not only with email, but even calling up the area heads. Kasi yun ang kailangan eh. Now, regarding SoCal, I really believe that we have to have this, kasi this is a Western conference, and we are banking on only the presence, the major presence of California, which is North and South, and Central pala. Mayroon na Central, no? Because I believe that if we could really push this conference with the right bullets, including kung magkano. Kasi importante din magkano.